Have you ever said something and instantly regretted it? Maybe you shared too much information in a meeting, overreacted in an argument, or tried to fill an awkward silence with unnecessary words. Now, think about the opposite. Have you ever met someone who speaks little, but when they do, everyone listens? People like this command authority effortlessly. They understand something most people don't. Silence is a tool of power. The Stoics deeply understood this. Seneca once said, "Silence is a great asset for those who wish to live wisely." To them, controlling speech was not just a sign of prudence, but a strategy to avoid problems, conserve energy, and increase influence. In this video, you'll discover how speaking less can transform your presence, make others take your words more seriously, and earn you a level of respect that few people achieve. We will explore the common mistakes that lead to excessive talking, the lessons Stoic philosophers taught about silence, and practical strategies to speak only when necessary. By the end, you will have a set of tools you can immediately apply to become a more strategic, influential, and respected person. Before we dive into the first point, I want you to answer in the comments, have you ever lost an opportunity or harmed yourself by talking too much? But before we understand how to use silence to our advantage, we need to analyze the problem. Why do so many people talk too much, and what are the consequences? If silence is so powerful, why do most people overtalk? The answer lies in human nature. From an early age, we are conditioned to believe that speaking makes us smarter, more confident, and more socially accepted. However, this constant need for expression can be a major weakness. People tend to talk excessively for three main reasons. Social anxiety. Silence can feel uncomfortable, so we try to fill it with irrelevant words. Need for validation. We want to be heard, recognized, and accepted, so we overcommunicate. Lack of self-control. In moments of emotion, especially anger and anxiety, we speak without thinking. The problem is that excessive talking comes at a high cost. First, those who talk too much lose credibility. Have you ever met someone who always has an opinion on everything but rarely says anything truly valuable? That kind of person ends up being ignored. In the workplace, in relationships, and even on social media, the more you talk unnecessarily, the less impact your words have. Second, oversharing can be dangerous. Imagine being in a negotiation. If you talk too much, you might reveal information that weakens your position. If you stay silent and observe, you gain time to understand the other side and act strategically. Finally, excessive talking drains energy. Have you ever noticed how some people leave meetings feeling exhausted because they talked the entire time? This happens because speaking requires mental and emotional effort. Stoicism teaches us to conserve our energy for what truly matters, rather than wasting it on empty words. To illustrate this, imagine the following scenario. An ambitious employee, during an important meeting, wants to impress their boss. They start talking non-stop, trying to showcase their knowledge, but end up rambling, contradicting themselves, and coming across as insecure. Meanwhile, another colleague speaks only when necessary, using short and precise sentences. In the end, who will be remembered as trustworthy and assertive? The problem is clear. Talking too much reduces your influence and can even harm your reputation. But how did the Stoics view silence? What was the philosophy behind this practice? Let's find out. The Stoic perspective on silence. The Stoics did not see silence merely as the absence of words, but as a powerful tool to preserve mental clarity, avoid mistakes, and strengthen presence. To them, speaking less did not mean being passive. It meant being strategic. Seneca warned, silence is a great asset for those who wish to live wisely. Similarly, Epictetus said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we may listen more and speak less. These quotes reflect an essential Stoic principle. Self-control over one's words is a sign of wisdom and strength. But why was silence so highly valued by the Stoics? Avoids unnecessary conflicts. Many arguments and misunderstandings arise because we speak without thinking. Silence gives us the chance to assess the situation before reacting, preserves mental energy. Every conversation requires effort. If we talk about everything all the time, we exhaust our minds and lose focus on what truly matters, increases influence. People who speak only when necessary convey more authority. Their words are anticipated and valued. A clear example of this is Marcus Aurelius, one of Rome's greatest emperors and a devoted Stoic. He was known for his reserved demeanor and his ability to listen before speaking. As a leader, he understood that silence was often more effective than long and impulsive speeches. In times of crisis, Marcus Aurelius avoided reacting immediately. Instead, he reflected before making any decisions, which gave him an advantage over opponents who acted hastily. Another interesting point is that the Stoics practiced what we can call speaking with purpose. They believed that before saying something, one should evaluate three basic criteria. Is it true? If we are not absolutely certain about something, it's better not to say it. Is it necessary? Just because something can be said doesn't mean it should be said. Does it add value? Our words should contribute meaningfully to a conversation or situation. This practice, known as the three filters, was later attributed to Socrates and is still widely used today as a method of conscious communication. Now that we understand why silence is a powerful tool, we need to learn how to apply it in practice. How can we speak less without seeming distant? How can we turn silence into a strategic advantage in daily life? Let's explore that now. Understanding. The value of silence is essential, but knowing how to apply it in everyday situations is what truly transforms your presence and influence. Below, we'll explore practical strategies to speak less, listen more, and use silence as a tool of power. The three-filter rule: speak only when necessary. Before saying anything, filter your words through three fundamental questions. Is it true? If we are not absolutely sure, it's better not to spread doubtful information. Is it necessary? Just because something can be said doesn't mean it should be said. Does it add value? If it doesn't contribute to the conversation or situation, it's just noise. This rule prevents impulsive speech and forces us to be more strategic in our communication. 2. Practice strategic pauses. The rush to respond often signals anxiety and insecurity. Influential people, when questioned, take a pause before answering. This pause not only gives you time to think, but also makes others perceive your words as more thoughtful and impactful. Example: imagine being in a work meeting. If someone asks you a difficult question and you respond immediately, you may seem hasty. But if you take a brief pause, make eye contact, and then respond, you project confidence and control over the situation. 3. Use body language to communicate without words. Silence can be powerful, but it doesn't mean the absence of communication. Often, what you don't say is just as important as what you do say. Here are some ways to convey presence without speaking. Maintain steady eye contact, firm but not intimidating. Use subtle facial expressions to show attentiveness. Keep an open and relaxed posture, avoiding restless movements. This creates a strong presence and projects confidence without excessive words. The power of mystery. Speak less, make others curious. People who talk too much tend to overexpose themselves, lose credibility, and appear desperate for attention. On the other hand, those who master silence maintain a sense of mystery. Mystery creates attraction, whether at work, in relationships, or during negotiations. When you speak less, people make more effort to understand what you're thinking. This gives you greater control over the conversation. The Stoic technique of breathing before responding. A practical technique to avoid impulsive responses is simple but powerful. Take a deep breath before speaking. This reduces the chance of saying something without thinking and increases your ability to formulate a more precise and effective response. Now that you know these strategies, let's analyze how applying silence can transform your life and how others perceive you. Throughout this video, we've explored why speaking less is a powerful skill and how the Stoics used silence to enhance their influence. But how does this shift truly impact your life? When you adopt silence as a strategic tool, three major transformations occur. You gain more. Respect. People who talk too much often lose authority because their words become predictable and empty. In contrast, those who speak little but with intention create anticipation and earn respect. Imagine two leaders. One talks all the time, gives impulsive orders, and frequently contradicts himself. The other chooses words carefully, observes before acting, and when they speak, everyone listens. Which one seems more trustworthy? Your presence becomes stronger. When you learn to express yourself with fewer words and more purpose, your presence naturally becomes more powerful. You attract attention without having to ask for it. This applies to work meetings, casual conversations, and even social media. By avoiding unnecessary comments, your words gain greater weight. You gain control over your emotions and decisions. Silence gives you time to think. Instead of reacting impulsively in arguments, you analyze, observe, and act with intelligence. Think of a heated debate. The person who loses control and talks excessively usually gets tangled in their own words, while the one who remains calm and speaks at the right moment has a higher chance of winning the discussion. Stoicism teaches exactly this. Do not react immediately, but act consciously. Practical example: the employee who advanced in his career by speaking less. Consider a professional who always tried to stand out by talking too much in meetings. He noticed that his colleagues didn't take his words seriously. By adopting the strategy of speaking only when necessary, his presence became more impactful. Over time, he was seen as a strategic thinker and was promoted more quickly. Now that you've seen how silence can transform your life, let's recap the key lessons and how to apply them in your daily routine. Silence, often underestimated, is one of the most powerful tools you can develop. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Those who control their words control their influence. Throughout this video, we've seen how speaking less can increase your respect and credibility, strengthen your presence in any environment, give you more control over your emotions and decisions. And the best part, these changes don't require any special talent, just practice. Start today by applying strategic pauses, the 3 filters, and breathing before responding. Small adjustments in your communication can completely transform how others perceive. I want to hear from you. Have you ever missed an opportunity or harmed yourself by talking too much? Comment below and share your experience. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. This not only helps the channel grow, but also ensures you receive more content like this. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes silence speaks louder than 1,000 words.